Hi, I'm Mike Cashion with Cashion Legal. We are an employment and litigation law firm based in Calgary, Alberta. If you've been presented with a new employment contract from your current employer or from a prospective employer and you have questions about the terms of this employment contract, in this video, I'm going to run through some of the basic concepts on employment contracts in Alberta. And by the end of the video, you'll have a better understanding of the key terms and you'll be able to know whether you'll need further legal advice on the employment contract. The first thing I want to clarify is that an employment contract can take many forms. Sometimes it's called an employment contract, sometimes it's called an employment agreement, and sometimes it's called an offer letter. But really all it means is that there is an agreement between an employer and an employee that the employee will do certain work and the employer will provide certain compensation in return for that work. One common misconception is that an employment agreement is solely designed to benefit the interests of the employer, and it is the employer who sets the terms of the employment contract. So employees should understand that the terms of the employment contract should also be beneficial to them and reflect their understanding of the employment relationship. The document does not solely exist to protect the interests of the employer. If an employer presents you with a written employment contract, it is important to understand the entirety of the contract because you need to know what you're getting into. Some clauses are more straightforward than others, and some clauses deserve more attention than others. One key clause that you will definitely want to review before you sign an employment contract is the termination clause. This sets out the employer's obligations and the employee's obligations relating to termination of employment. From the employer's side, they may include a clause that limits their obligation to provide pay in lieu of notice, which we commonly refer to as severance. Before you sign an employment contract, you will want an understanding of what the contract says about the employer's obligation to provide pay in lieu of notice. Because if you sign something that doesn't provide for very much pay in lieu of notice, in a short period of time, you could find yourself in a disadvantageous situation. Similarly, you're going to want to review the employment contract for the employee's resignation obligations to understand what kind of notice the employee has to provide in the event that they are resigning and pursuing employment elsewhere. Another important clause to review with employment contracts is the compensation clause, basically the clause that sets out how much the employee is entitled to in return for their work. Some compensation clauses are relatively straightforward. You get an hourly rate of X, you get a base salary of Y. But in the alternative, sometimes employees have complicated commission or bonus-based compensation structures. In those situations, it's important to confirm that the terms of the clause accurately reflect the employee's understanding of the bonus structure or the commission structure. Other important terms in employment contracts are what they call restrictive covenants, which are also referred to as non-compete clauses, non-solicitation clauses, or confidentiality obligations. These are clauses which restrict the employee's ability to do certain work after the end of the employment relationship. And because of the implications of those clauses, it's important to understand at the outset of the relationship what they say. If you sign an employment agreement with a very onerous non-compete or non-solicitation clause, it could significantly impact your ability to obtain employment elsewhere after the end of the employment relationship. If you're employed with your current employer and they come to you and they present you with a new employment agreement just out of the blue, you do not have to sign that agreement to continue in your existing job. However, if your employer is giving you a promotion or giving you a raise and they say that is conditional upon execution of a new employment agreement, they are allowed to withhold that promotion or that raise until you sign the new employment contract. During the employment relationship, the employer cannot unilaterally change the terms of the employment contract. That would potentially be considered an act of constructive dismissal, and we have another video dealing with that topic if you want to learn more about that subject matter. If you've just been presented a new employment contract and you're feeling overwhelmed and you still don't understand some of the terms and conditions of the employment contract, a lawyer can sit with you and walk through those terms, provide you with clarity and peace of mind about what they mean, and ensure you that you're adequately protected in your new employment relationship. If after watching this video you still have questions about an employment contract, please book a consultation today.